Blackburn Rovers' latest fixture out in the Championship goes to Barnsley. That's right, who are, of course, flying very, very high. But Blackburn reached this point of the season at a bit of a crossroads. A win, and we're still in. A defeat, and I think it's going to be Championship football again next season. We'll take a look at that and more next. That's right, folks, back once again with another match preview. This time looking forward to Barnsley up against Blackburn Rovers at Oakwell, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you're new to the channel, smash your subscribe button to keep your bang up to date with all things Blackburn Rovers later, Championship related. Whoa, football, here we go here. Under Warrowski, that's right, goodness gracious me. Can Blackburn Rovers get their season back on track for the upteenth time of asking, or will the dark horses of the old Championship, Barnsley, keep their tremendous season going in the right direction? We'll take a look at all of that in just a second. I want a big shout out, of course, to the Patreons. You know who you are, the VIP band of brothers, as I do appreciate your support, especially through times like these. So here we bloody go. Take a look back, of course, at, well, not look back, I look forward to this badger right here at, of course, Oakwell. It is Barnsley locking horns with Blackburn Rovers. Of course, Barnsley's doing absolutely tremendous right here, right now. Of course, last season I had a bit of a season nearly to forget, but I think they were probably a season to remember, hanging on by the skin of your teeth. Of course, Barnsley finished up 21st out of 24 teams last season. But since then, they started this season okay, but they decided things got a little bit different. So they brought in Valerian Ishmael, who came in and has done a tremendous job for Barnsley, driving them up the table, and they're looking probably one of the best on the eye teams out in the Championship, and they're flying in mid-table comfortably away from those drop zones, and I can imagine they'll be here comfortably next season. But will Valerian Ishmael, of course, is doing a tremendous job here. I'm sure he might be lured elsewhere with some of the attractive jobs, maybe further up the Championship, or maybe even in the Premier League. But of course, that's a story for another day. We're going to drive on forward now, take a look at some of the numbers that matter for this game. Kicking it all off right here with the tail of the tape. Of course, it is the 29th game of the season, something like that. Of course, Rovers still averaging 2 goals a game compared to Barnsley's 1. Again, we're up there with a course amount of shots per game, 14 compared to the hosts' 11. On average, we pick up 2 yellow cards, as do Barnsley pick up the 1. 5 corners on average per 19 minutes for Rovers, just the 4 for Barnsley. Barnsley likely to pick up 13 fouls compared to our 11. And further down here, again, all the numbers. It's always, each and every week, it favours Rovers. 54% success rate with the aerial duels compared to 46 for Barnsley. Similar sort of numbers for the possession, 56 for Rovers, 46 for Barnsley. Pass success rate, 78% for Rovers, 61% for Barnsley. But of course, what really matters is that at the end of the day is the score. But let's take a look at the home versus away here now. Of course, Barnsley playing 13 matches at home, Rovers playing 14 matches on the road. Kind of similar stats here, to be honest with you. I think maybe a little bit more level in regards to possession. On average, 47% possession for Barnsley at home, which means they kind of play similar sort of style both home and away. Probably let the opposition have the ball more, and of course hopefully get them on the counter. Of course, we just watched them the other day against Chelsea. Tremendous, even though they lost, but they did a tremendous job against Brentford, and I think that was on the road as well. So they've been awkward, and I do anticipate another awkward match for Rovers against these bad boys, even though we did beat them earlier in the season at Ewood. But I think it's completely separate game, back then, and of course now Barnsley completely settled with a new manager, and things look completely different. Let's take a look at some other numbers that matter here. These are the goals. Of course, Rovers, one of the highest scorers, if not the highest scorers out in the Championship. We'll take a look at that, confirm that in a minute. 42 goals for Rovers this season, 33 open play, 3 set pieces, 5 counter-attacks, 4 penalties, and no OGs. As for Barnsley, 31 goals, 80 through open play, 6 set pieces. That shows just where their strengths lie. Of course, Rovers show where our weaknesses lies in regards to getting goals. Just 1 counter-attack, 5 penalties for Barnsley, 1 OG. And as you can see down there, that's the shots per game on average, 14.4 for Rovers, 1.5 goals per game. We're on that cusp there. I think a little bit, one or two more games without a couple of goals, and of course we're going to drip into that average of 1 goal a game. Conversion rate of just 10%. As for Barnsley, 9% as well. Let's take a look at the goals conceded now, shall we? Of course, Rovers not the best at the back, conceding 31 goals, but Barnsley conceding 34, so that's food for thought for Rovers. Of course, we conceded 20 through open play, 7 set pieces, 1 counter-attack, 2 penalties and 1 OG. As for Barnsley, conceding 17 through open play, 13 set pieces, nothing on the counter, 3 penalty attacks and 1 OG as well. And as you can see down here, on average, they're receiving about 8.9 shots per game. We're receiving about 11.8 with a conversion rate of 9%, a conversion rate of 13% for us. So that's a good positive numbers in that regard for Rovers, but still, it's not brilliant for Rovers heading into this one. Let's take a look at, of course, some other possession stats here coming at you, of course. On the left, it is the Barnsley figures. On the right is the Rovers. We are represented by the blue, of course. Barnsley, look, that's what you want to see. That's what Rovers' numbers were looking like at the start of the season. 32% of all their possession is based in the opposition third, so they don't hang about with the ball at the back. 26% of all their possession is in the back. 42% is in the middle. Carving up some opportunities, creating some chances, of course. Rovers have a similar sort of figures, but it's still not as positive as Barnsley's. 30% is kept in the back there at the defensive third. That's the Lenihan area. That's, of course, the Nyambe sort of factor, just, in the keeping with the defense. The Kaminsky, of course. In the middle third, 41%, 28% up top. That's not what we want to see. We want to have those numbers in the positive, not in the negative, where, of course, that is the less of the three areas for the possession. As for whereabouts we like to come up and down the field, let's look at Barnsley first. 41% down the right-hand side, so that's a key area for the likes of Douglas. Who else is going to be on the left-hand side? Maybe Brereton. I don't know who's going to start. Of course, 34% down the right. 34% down their left, which is our right. 24% down the middle. As for Rovers, kind of a bit more even. 38% down the right. 37% down the left. 25% down the middle. That's, of course, the attacking avenues. Meanwhile, the shots, we'll go straight down here. 44% of all Barnsley shots coming down the long range area, 49% in the 18-yard box, of course, in 8%. That's a scrappy dappy do area. That's quite a high figure. As for Rovers, 60% of all of our shots coming in the 18-yard box, 4% in the scrappy dappy do area, and 36% long range babbles. And whereabouts on the field those shots come place, of course, Barnsley, 65% down your throat, 19% down the left, and 60% down your right. As for Rovers, 63% down the middle, 17% down the right, 20% down the left. That's, of course, Adam Armstrong's domain. So look at some numbers then matter that, of course, personnel-wise, of course, Barnsley's goals coming from Coley Woodrow, 11 this season. Stars has got 4. Michael Hellish has got 3. And Mount's got 3. No Connor Chaplin there. Of course, he is an outlet of goals. And they've also brought in a young American, Dyke, from the MLS, from Orlando FC, a youngster. He's very, very tipped, very, very exciting prospect. And they've also got a couple of other attacking options that will likely cause us some problems. So the defensive or discipline sort of area, Anderson's picked up 6 yellows. Solbau's got 5. As has Styles. Mount's got 4 yellows as well, and 2 red cards to boot, Anderson and Michael Hellick as well. As for Rovers, goals, of course, coming from Armstrong, and it's Gallagher, Elliott, and Johnson with the rest of the goals. Gallagher with 4, Elliott with 4, Johnson's got 3. As for discipline, Johnson's got 6. I think we do miss Bradley Johnson at the moment. Of course, he is your big boss man midfielder, dictating the play, kind of no nonsense sort of stuff. I think without him, since we've been out without him on a regular basis, our form has dropped. Meanwhile, Leonard's got 6. Douglas and Rothwell both have 4, and just 1 red card to boot. And hopefully it stays that way. And that's Darragh Lennon, of course, with a red. So we've got my impending starting 11s and Shaw, of course, starting with the host. Now, get this, Tony Moby, get this, and get this early. They do like to play with 3 at the back, and when we play against teams with 3 at the back, we struggle. So I'm hoping to optimise the 3 at the back with maybe a change of formation with a 4-2-3-1. We'll take a look at the Rovers team in a minute. But let's focus, of course, the hosts, of course. With this team, of course, Collins at the back there, between the sticks, Anderson, Hellish, and Solbaugh make up your back 3. 3 strong centre-backs, and that's why they're, of course, pushing up the table. Styles on the left, Britton's on the right, Mowat and Palmer in the middle. Youngster, of course, who did score against us at Ewood Park. Meanwhile, Chaplin, again, lacking the goals, but he's still a major threat. Morris as well scored last time around 4, I think, against Brentford the other day, and, of course, Coley Woodrow, 11 this season. Maybe, you know what, when we exploded onto the scene with a 4-3-3, I guess we thought we were the bees' bloody knees, or the mutts nuts, or whatever you want to call it. But I think this 3 at the back formation is the way to go. A lot of teams are playing with it, and a lot of teams are being very, very successful with it. Can Rovers explore something like this? It is not too far off of it. You could, again, it would be a bit of a major crisis if you were to drop Nyambe, but you could opt with the 3 at the back with the youngster from Manchester City alongside Branthwaite and Leonard, push Douglas at the left, maybe move Elliott at the right, and then your midfield of Travis or Downing or Dak even to some point, and then you have 3 attacking players. You could optimise this, but of course I don't think we're going to see it. So let's talk about Rovers. So in regards to a 3-4-3 or whatever you want to call it, I've gone with a 4-2-3-1, which of course was our tried and trusted formation last season with Dak at the helm, and that's why I'm going with it. You're playing to my strengths. Realistically, I know Armstrong's got the goals, but if you break everything down, I think Bradley Dack is still our main man. He might not be at the form that he wants to be in, but he is the key ingredient to us pulling the strings and, of course, getting into the scrappy WWE area. So I'm going with this. Kaminsky at the back, of course, between six. Douglas, Brathwaite, Lennon, and Naomi make up your back four. Travis and Downing, I've gone with midfield. Of course, people would argue with Davenport. People will argue with somebody else, maybe Rothwell down there. I don't know. But I think Downing offers the experience. He could take a set piece. He's got the vision. He might not be the quickest of them all, but, of course, it's kind of dictating pace, kind of like a little mini quarterback at the back there. Dak, of course, in that number 10 role, which of course you can get further forward and get into those goal scoring, scrappy dappy areas. Of course, Rothwell out the left. You could argue with Brereton or Gallagher on the left, or Ailey on the right, or Dolan even, but I've gone with Rothwell. Of course, his when he gets that bit between his teeth, he is unstoppable. Of course, Elliott on the right, if he's fit and raring to go, he can pull the trigger as well. And of course, Armstrong, you can't drop him at the moment, even though he's not been as good as he was earlier in the campaign. Let's kick it off further then, shall. Of course, let's take a look at the game in a nutshell right here, right now. Of course, since 1997, these two sides have played each other 15 times. There's been 7 wins for Rovers, 5 wins for Barnsley, and 3 draws. What are we looking at here, of course? So, yeah, the biggest win for Barnsley in those 15 occasions was a 5-1 win over Rovers. As for Rovers, their highest win was a 5-2 win. Of course, between the two sides, or in fact, scrap that between the two sides, in those 15 games, Rovers have scored 24 goals, Barnsley have scored 25, averaging about 1.6 goals, 6-7 goals a game. As for Rovers, 1.6 goals for them. Rovers' form is around about 42%, picking up 2 wins, 2 defeats, actually 3 defeats and a draw in the last 6. As for Barnsley, a little bit better than us, 50%, winning 2, drawing 2, and losing 2 in the last 6. We currently find ourselves in 9th, they're in 12th. So yes, let's break it down a little bit further. Of course, over recent years, this is what we're looking at. Of course, both home and away, Barnsley have the upper hand, winning 3 of the last 6 games. Rovers picking up 2 wins, and there's been 1 draw. Of course, we played each other earlier in the season in November, back in Ewood Park. It was a 2-1 win. Armstrong and Gallagher with a rare goal there. Ron Palmer made it late with a bit of drama themselves, but unfortunately we held on. Of course, last round at Oakwell was a 2-2 win last season. On the skin of their teeth, they won that game, and of course, I think that game, of course, helped them survive, if not made them survive. Connor Chaplin, Jacob Brown on the score sheet. Pembroke took himself red carded. So last time Rovers were, well, I don't even know. In fact, let's take a look at the recent games as Oakwell. Of course, last time Rovers were victorious was back in 2012. Some names from the past in here. Of course, Joshua King, Ruben Roshina, Jordan Rhodes on the score sheet, Stephen Dawson on the score sheet as well for Barnsley back in 2012. So it's 3 years or 3 occasions since Blackburn Rovers won at Barnsley. So it's been back-to-back 2-0 losses and a back-to-back red cards. Hopefully we're going to break both of those hoodoos tonight as we go to Oakwell. Of course, look at that, all the way back in 2000 in the Championship. Some real names from the past there. Matt Jansen and David Dunn on score sheet. Ripley as well. I don't know which Ripley that was. Let me know in the old comment section down below us, of course. So yeah, not the best of form against Barnsley, but hopefully we can change that here tonight. Of course, look at Barnsley's home form is pretty good. Just 2 defeats in the past 6 games, heading into this, losing to Swansea at home, losing to Chelsea in the FA Cup. Besides that, beating Huddersfield, beating Tranmere, beating Norwich, and drawing with Cardiff. As for Rovers away form, recently it's not bad. Of course, that result against QPR was a bit of a shit show, but of course before that we got good results, clean sheets against Birmingham and Middlesbrough. Hopefully we can get more 3 points on the board as well heading into this. This is the tail of the tape, of course, our journey so far. Of course, Barnsley represented by the hollow square, Rovers represented by the solid square. Of course, Barnsley struggling at the start of the season. A change of manager then saw them climb the table. And look at them. They went to the dizzy heights of at least 8th in the table a couple of weeks back. And of course now settled down into 12th. As for Rovers, again, we've had a great start, then we dipped off a little bit, we kind of restored a little bit of order, then it went really tits up, eventually strengthening, and of course we've been on a roller coaster of a ride ever since then. Right here, right now, we sit in 9th. More than luck than by anything else. I think our form suggests we are more, we'll see actually the form in a minute, the form table of the last 6 games, but right here, right now, we sit in 9th, but to be honest with you, I feel like we're around about an 18th or a 19th place team, and we can confirm that shortly. Here is the form in all its glory. Of course, the last 6 games, both the last 5 games heading into this, of course, back-to-back. Barnsley heading into this on the back of that win, a big win against Brentford on the road. They did lose to Chelsea in a game that I thought they played very, very well. I'm not too sure how they played against Forest in a 0-0 draw. They also drew with Cardiff, and they also beat Norwich in the FA Cup. Good results there, to be honest with you. On the grand scheme of things, when you look at that, I'm sure Barnsley were looking at this and they were hoping to get maybe a couple of points, but of course, at the end of it, what did they get? They got 2, to 5 points out of those 5 games. That's pretty good, even though the Chelsea game doesn't really count for points-wise. As for Rovers coming into this, of course, losing to Preston at home, shit show. Losing to QPR, shit show. Beating Luton, that was also a bit of a shit show. And also beating Middlesbrough was also a bit of a shit show. We haven't really seen the best of Rovers since November. I don't know why. But we need to address that. We need to find why the reason we're not playing the football that we are. Have we been found out? Do we need to change the formation? Do we need to change personnel? Do we need to drop some ever presence that, of course, that have got too lazy? We need to spunk it up a little bit, and of course, hopefully, we can spunk it up right here, right now against Barnsley tonight. Here is the home and away form. Of course, we're not really not the form, but the grand scheme of things. So on the road for Rovers, we've played 14 matches, winning 5 of them, losing 7, scoring 21 goals, conceding 16. As for Barnsley's home form, they've played 13, won 6, lost 4, conceded 15, and also scored just 16 as well, picking up 21 points at home. We have picked up 17 away this season. It's not brilliant. And again, we're actually level on points heading into this. That's how tight the championship is. Let's take a look at the form table. Of course, Rovers coming at you in 11th, which, to be honest with you, is much better than I thought. Barnsley actually down into 17th. So, you know what? All that glitters is not gold. They're coming at you picking up 5 points out of a possible 18. Rovers picking up just 10. Derby and Cardiff are your teams to do. This is, of course, after the games that took place on Tuesday night. So into the home form here, Barnsley currently sit at 8th. Rovers are 12th, but we're not focused about Rovers at home. We're all focused about Rovers away. So Barnsley looking good at the moment, picking up 2 defeats in the past 6 games, picking up 10 points out of possible 18 at home. Just 2 blips as well in those last 6. Of course, Rovers coming out this one in 16th in the table, picking up 4 defeats in the past 6 games. Of course, back-to-back wins was ended the other day. Bloody hell, my phone's going tits up here. Bloody Nora, folk, would you quit it? Would you bloody quit it? Is there a fire? Is there a bloody fire? Bloody shut up, phone. My goodness, what is going on here? What is all this shite? Oh, here's my resident Barnsley supporter, of course, giving me a lowdown of the game himself. I'm going to have to mute him because we're recording. We're bloody recording. Did you not know? But anyway, yes, the away form for Rovers in 60th is not great. So hopefully we can change the tide. So we are the games heading out of this one. Of course, Barnsley will take on Bristol City. Of course, just sacked their manager. May have a new manager bounce by that point. I doubt they'll be appointed by the 20th of Feb. Meanwhile, they'll take on Stoke midweek next week. Then it's Millwall. Into the month of March we go. QPR will take on Barnsley down at Loftus Road, and then Barnsley take on Birmingham in the Battle of the Bees. As for Rovers, in a month that proved to be looked like so fruitful for Rovers, it's now looking very, very likely that we could even go the whole month without a bloody win. We're going to take on Forest this weekend. At Forest, we owe them a win, of course. They did sting us in the arse, and Chris Hughton's first game back in when was it? August, September, something like that. Then it's Watford midweek at Ewood Park. Then it's Coventry, of course. Realistically, if we were to get a positive win today, or a positive result here today, we could still end the month strongly, but we need to, of course, turn the tide and give the Rovers fans some belief. Then it is a tricky opening start to the month of March, taking on Reading, and then of course Millwall as well in quick succession.
It's very difficult in football. I think, you know, the emotions of football can drive, you know, are really high and really low. I think what you have to understand is there's another game just around the corner, and you have to prepare and get ready for that and deal with the emotion of a victory or a defeat, and then, you know, hope that you have enough strong leaders in your dressing room to rally the troops. You know, obviously the manager's job is to rally the troops as well, but within the dressing room to have that fighting spirit, really, that defeats can't deter, that you keep pushing, you keep striving, and I know when I look at the Championship, there's a lot of clubs with similar aspirations to us that are having similar inconsistencies, really. You know, I think the club close to me, of course, is Middlesbrough, who, you know, a couple of weeks ago they'd won a few games and they were flying and they were threatening the playoffs, and then they had a terrible defeat to Rotherham at home, I think, on the back of us beating them, and the weekend they lost again to Derby, and so Stoke City's another guy, City, Bristol City, who aspirations every year of making the playoffs. Did they lose 5 or 6 at Watford? It's the highs and lows, the aspirations, the dreams, you know, it's how well you can bounce back from the adversity of defeat, I suppose. And the next games for us all is coming this midweek, and I have to put the last 2 results behind us on the back of what had been a really good month. that's just the highs and lows of football. My belief is that you shouldn't get too high, shouldn't get too low, and yeah, it's easy to say that because I feel pretty low at the moment on the back of the last 2 results. And yet I've got to go out there and train today and pick the team up and get ready and go again on Wednesday. Because the inconsistency of everybody else around you, I suppose, our inconsistencies there right in front of our eyes, and but because you don't focus on Bristol City or Stoke City or whoever the other teams around us. Cardiff have hit a purple patch at the moment, but could easily sink into 2, 3, 4 defeats on the bounce, and so. As in football is, when the ball stops rolling at the end of the season, you see where you are in the table. We've just got to keep believing, keep pushing hard, keep trying to win football matches, and it doesn't seem to make much odds home or away. It's just the next game. So I don't sit here and think, God, we've got 2 away games coming. I just think there was the next 2 opposition. Really, we have to go and play 2 teams just on a bit of grass. One bit of grass is at Barnsley, one bit of grass is in Nottingham, and we'll go and try and come out on top in those football matches. And if we can win the next 2, everyone will be feeling a bit more rosy and a bit more positive. Let's just keep rolling, keep going with the group. Yeah, and listen, you can throw Barnsley into that equation I've just talked about, ups and downs, highs and lows. The higher going to Brentford and winning 2-0, the first team to do it in 21, 22 games. And you'd have to say against Chelsea in the Cup, to only lose 1-0 and yet have 1 cleared off the line. Their keeper made 2 great saves. Chelsea's keeper, I'm talking, they could have easily got a positive result in that game. You think of our home game against them, at how tight it was really, and how effective they were at pressing, and when you're trying to dominate with the possession of the ball, how hard their front 3 work to take the ball off you and create problems for you. Really, they're a very, very good out of possession football team that manifests into creating chances and scoring some goals. So it's a really dangerous game for us. The last couple of games there, we've actually played all right in a few of them and could have been in front, but ended up losing them, I think. So it's a difficult game. It's a game against a team who are going to be feeling good about themselves, having just beaten Brentford, full of energy and drive, and we have to match that as much as we can, and hope that we get back to goal scoring ways. Really, if anything, over the last dozen or so games, the goals have dried up a little bit for the team in general. The days of scoring 3, 4, 5s seem a long time ago now. It would be nice to get more than 1 goal in a game, and to try and get back to winning ways. We know how difficult this match is going to be, but we should look forward to it and go and ask some questions of Barnsley, really, because I know they'll be asking questions of how we're going to play and what we're going to do with the ball. So yeah, I've always talked to them from the start of this season, really, when we decided that we were going to change the way we played. Danny had moved on, and we were going to try and be ball orientated and possession based and create more chances, and I think that's been the pattern throughout the season. I think in lots of games we have created almost up to 20 shots at goal, and obviously there's a percentage you get of chances taken against chances you create, and at this moment we're falling a little bit short on them percentages of how many we take compared to how many we create. But as I say, we've got 18 more opportunities to see how we get on. I think we should look forward to them all, and try and get some momentum, because it seems to be a season where everybody is feeling as if they're on a great run, and then all of a sudden they hit a wobble and they lose 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 on the bounce, and then they have a draw, and it's all their dreams are dashed, really. But then within a week you play 2 more games and you win them both, and you're back on track. And so for us at the moment, we're still within touching distance of our aspirations. We just have to find a way to win some football matches, and we're more than capable of doing that. No, I don't think so. I think it's I think Bradley Johnson, he's going to put his boots on today, first time back on the grass. But he's not ready for Wednesday. He's been out for a while now, and I don't think other than that we've got anybody coming back. So as the weeks roll on, they'll drip back in, of course. Rankin Costello's back, but he probably needs to play a 23s game at some stage. He's had a long-term injury, so No, it'll be a very similar group, but that's okay because we know we took the opportunity to give Harvey a little breather, and Brereton's had a little breather from it as well, and so we've got options of on selection. We'll try and get the selection right and see if we can go there and give them some problems. That the reason he played 90 was because that's what we're striving for, to try and get him there. We know he's not there yet. He knows he's not there yet, and it's what percentage it takes out of the team at maximum. Otherwise, you never get him there, and we'll see. It's no good me saying, "Oh, he's going to be amazing this weekend or this midweek." Let's see how long it takes to get him back where we know he can be at his very best. And there's little flashes of it in the 90-minute games, but let's just keep going and give him the game time we think is right. He won't play all of these next 5 or 6 games, but we'll pick and choose where we think it's pertinent for him to sit and watch for a bit, and then how much time we give him in any given game.
A little bit what I've had to say. What about the gaffer? Of course, fortunately, we're right here, right now, prior to the game, we have managed to catch Tony Mowbray before the match. So here is his pre-match build-up as we edge closer to kick-off. Of course, we've got a little bit of what he's had to say. What about the fans on social media? Well, let's take a little look at it then, shall we? Let's jump in the deep end over to the brfcs.com forum. Here we bloody go. It's loading. Give it a minute to load. Where are you? Where are you, bloody Keith? Here we go, of course. Yeah, kicking it off with JPT Swindon. It was posted back on Monday. Enthusiasm, excitement, nope, he says. It's telling when I'm needed to start the match thread. With settled teams, often the most successful, Tony Mowbray will be reaching for a selection lottery machine. Heaven knows what the starting level will be. T-Lady might be in with a shout for right back if they haven't been furloughed. We tend to nick a result when it's all doom and gloom, but I can't see past the draw with Tony Mowbray be brimming with pride over, despite the calamitous late equaliser. My one hope is that Dolan gets a run. Our young stars need game time to kick on. Presume the match will be on the red button, though I follow gets the nod on quality. Let's dip down further to Rovers fan 99 down here. Kaminsky between the sticks, Nyambe, Lennon, Howard, Bellis and Douglas. No Branthwaite for him, of course. Travis and Davenport in the middle. Elliot Dack and Brereton and Armstrong on top. As you can see, it is a bit of a mixture between his version of events and my version of events. Branthwaite should be dropped. Would be equally happy with Downing next to Travis. Of course, happy days. Brereton or Dolan, a tight call too. Rothwell doesn't deserve to play either. Sign the bloody deal. Don't think the game overly matters. Playoffs aren't happening, so I suppose it's all about finishing as high as possible in the mini league. That's forming away from the top 6. Range from 7th to 15th. Top half of that, he can spin it as progress. Bottom half, less so. Who else am I kidding? As if Venky's care enough to be so invested. Meanwhile, JH Rover couldn't care less anymore. A win is highly unlikely. All I really want is for Rick Sharp and the other media guys to ask Mowbray and Barnsley how Barnsley's slow build is coming along, having had 3 managers in just over a year, spent very little and sold their best players, yet are looking like a better side than us. Wonder what his excuse will be on that one. Blue Blood said this, doing a Mercer, but after doing Mercer's another user, after the knives justifiably coming out after the Preston game for all quarters, Tony Mowbray's survival's instincts will kick in and will gain a win. If we don't win, it's Nyambe's fault. All the lone lads will get game time. What position they'll play in, though, is anybody's guess. Armstrong will score for us, no one else will. If you tune in at halftime, you won't have missed much. 1-0 to Rovers as we employ our trademark play badly and fluke a goal tactics that we have seen numerous times this season. So there's a little bit of positivism in there, but of course a lot of negativity flying around. Our team is a mess of ludicrous ideas. Another defeat. That's Booth. We're going to kick on. We've got a lot to cover still, so we're going to plough on down here. Davil Shurka said this. Who knows what Mowbray will do? There'll be something that's not right. He'll either start Gallagher right wing, side, or can I see him starting Howard Bellis at right back in the Ambe's place, or both. Any more? Some contentious here. Well, we got 3 at the back. I like the look at that. Ronkie Costello, is he fit and raring to go? If so, I would like to see him get a go, but we'll see about that. Tom Phil, he's always full of stuff, and he's got a big scoreline down there. Just the type of game will win well, and usually do when his back's against the wall. He has a funny knack of getting them up for it on the front foot when criticism grows. Something regularly missing when we then get in touching distance or doing something. I can't keep being amused or assumed these players have some kind of mental block. It's more obvious when it's on display. It doesn't work often enough. I think we'll get the early goal and win this. We are due a performance, but I still also think they could leave Mowbray and Venus at home and still win it. Stick Downing in charge or something. We need a breath of fresh air. 3-1 win for Rovers in the end. Of course, that's what they think. Of course, you've heard what I think. Have you heard what the gaffers have to think? What about the Digicast? Here she is with a revamp pick. Well, show me what you got, Digi. Kicking on further out of the championship, let's take a look at some of the other numbers that matter then, shall we? Of course, possession-wise, your main mans at the moment are Norwich, Huddersfield, Bournemouth and Rovers. We're still up there, but of course, these numbers matter little if we don't put the performances on the pitch. As for the most aggressive sides, Stoke still reigns supreme on that one. 53 yellows, 3 reds. Sheffield Wednesday, Nottingham Forest, Birmingham and Watford make up your power 5. As for aeroduels, Rovers are up there as well. 3rd on this one. Cardiff, Birmingham lead them on that one. 59% success rate for Cardiff, who want to rebound themselves. Rovers are into 3rd, Stoke 4th, Preston 5th. As for shots per game, Rovers are 2nd on this one, just above Brentford on this. Norwich lead the charge as well, Bournemouth and Middlesbrough as well. Pass accuracy, Norwich, Huddersfield, Brentford, Reading and Bournemouth make up your power 5. As for the table, this looks like this. Again, after Tuesday's matches, Rovers into 10th. A win for us today could get us up to 9th, again within touching distance of 4 points of Cardiff. In 6th, of course, and a game in hand on the likes of Reading as well. So you know what, if we can get the result this way ahead of a difficult Barnsley, I'm not saying it's a foregone conclusion. If we get it though, we could start to believe again, and it might just be, you know, one of those things dragging our heels, and you just don't know. Do we deserve top 6? Heck no. But are we still in it at the moment? Yes. A win definitely keeps us in, and a defeat, I think, will put us right back in the shit things. Of course, it will have Barnsley leapfrog us, and they will go as high as 11th, if not more than that, with their negative goal difference, of course. But yeah, so as for the foot of the table, Wycombe, Birmingham and Sheffield Wednesday going down. Cardiff flying high right now. I actually had a little chuckle when they appointed Mick McCarthy, but guess what? He's got the results in 4 wins out of the past 5 games, of course. Let's take a look at the results of those games yesterday. Of course, Stoke did beat Sheffield Wednesday, got back to winning ways. Of course, Preston did lose to Watford. Middlesbrough left it late with a 2-1 win over Huddersfield. Bristol City lost to Reading, which cost the man his job. And again, if they're sacking him in mid-table, the other boards could consider that option as well for their own managers. Wycombe, of course, were unlucky against Derby. 2-1 win for Derby, and they're moving in the right direction. Cardiff as well, 2-0 win over Luton Town. Today we have Millwall against Birmingham, Swansea against Nottingham Forest, Coventry up against Norwich, of course, QPR against Brentford, Bournemouth up against Rotherham. That's the late kickoff, but again, all eyes will be at Oakwell as Barnsley take on Blackburn Rovers. Realistically, we want to see Rotherham beat Bournemouth to slow down their push. Millwall also on a pretty tip-top form as well. So, of course, the goal-scoring charts at the moment, Ivan Toney's broken away with it, with, of course, 5-goal cushion over Adam Armstrong. Lucas Jow is gaining on Adam Armstrong as well. Extra over in competition there. Tuma Pukki not too far away either. Kiefer Moore's bagging in the goals as well. Solanke as well. Woodrow, Stanislas, Ayew and Lowe. As for the assists, Ivan Toney leads the charge there. Elise is up there as well. Harvey Elliott's got himself 8 assists. Wilson's got himself 7. And Benza has also got himself 7 as well. So, of course, that's pretty much it, boys and girls. That's pretty much it. Again, we'll be having a watch-along for this, so make sure you come by and watch that game around about kick-off time, about 5-10 minutes before kick-off. I'll be there. Hopefully you'll be there too. Until then, make sure to give the video some love and smash the old thumbs up, smash your subscribe. We'll do it all again, of course, as we edge closer to the weekend up against Nottingham Forest. But that's another day. Today, it's all about the Barnes.